What if everything you were taught about ancient history is incomplete? Across the planet, there are structures that should not exist, at least not according to the timelines we trust. Stones weighing tens, sometimes hundreds of tons, carved with impossible precision. Monuments aligned with stars long before telescopes existed. Cities built before agriculture, before writing, before civilization was supposed to begin. And the most unsettling part isn't that we don't fully understand how they were built. It's that their existence quietly suggests something far more disturbing. That humanity may have risen, fallen, and risen again. These ruins don't shout their secrets. They stand in silence, daring us to explain them away. And every time we try, the questions grow heavier, not lighter. Because once you see the pattern, spread across continents and thousands of years, you realize this isn't about a single mystery. It's about a forgotten chapter of human history, one we were never meant to remember.
From the moment we begin our journey, we find ourselves stepping into a space where history blurs into the shadows of mystery. The ruins that we encounter on this path, far from being mere remnants of a distant past, are profound questions that the present is still trying to answer. These ancient structures, standing tall and defiant in the face of time, seem to whisper, challenging us to reconcile the known with the unknown. They should not exist, at least not in the way we've been taught to believe. And yet, here they are, real and impossible to deny. Every stone, every carving, every intricate design offers a quiet challenge to the way we think about the past. Some of these ruins seem to transcend the technological capabilities of the civilizations that supposedly built them. The sheer scale and sophistication of these ancient sites should have been impossible for their time. And yet, here they stand, evidence that defies our understanding. What kind of minds could have conceived of such wonders? What hidden knowledge did they possess that we have long since forgotten? These questions will follow us through every site, and the answers, elusive as they may be, guide our journey through the fog of history. The question is not simply how these ruins exist, but why they exist. How could societies, sometimes with limited tools and resources, have created structures that still leave us in awe thousands of years later? How could they have moved stones that weigh tons, crafted monuments that align with celestial bodies, or built entire cities underground? The mysteries of these ruins don't just challenge our understanding of ancient technology, they challenge our entire worldview. And yet, while we marvel at these enigmas, we must also remember that history is not always as straightforward as we like to think. The timeline we have constructed, the one we use to measure the progress of civilizations, might not be the correct one at all. What if ancient humanity was far more advanced than we believe? What if the knowledge and skill required to build these ruins existed long before we imagined? What if the true story of our past is one of great civilizations lost to time, knowledgeable, capable, and far more complex than we ever understood? These ruins, standing silently against the backdrop of time, force us to entertain these possibilities, no matter how far-fetched they might seem. In this first moment, we are not yet seeking the answers, but rather contemplating the very nature of these mysteries. We take a step back, inviting ourselves to look at these ruins not as curiosities or historical artifacts, but as living questions that refuse to be answered fully. They demand our attention, not through the certainty of fact, but through the tantalizing grip of the unknown. And while we may search for answers, it is perhaps the search itself that offers the most profound insight. As we start to look closer, we begin to see a pattern emerge. These sites, scattered across the globe, share certain qualities: impossibly precise stonework, alignment with the stars, transportation feats that defy the known capabilities of the time. These are not isolated anomalies. They are a global phenomenon that we have yet to fully understand. From the deserts of Turkey to the highlands of Peru, from the jungles of Costa Rica to the windswept plains of the Pacific Islands, these ruins all share a common thread. They were built by people who, despite their lack of modern tools, understood something far beyond what we thought they knew. This realization begins to shift the tone of our journey. No longer are we simply looking at ruins in isolation, marveling at their uniqueness. Instead, we begin to see a pattern emerging, one that suggests the ancient world was far more interconnected, more advanced, and more mysterious than we ever imagined. And yet, the deeper we go, the more questions arise. For every stone we unearth, we uncover more mysteries that seem to defy explanation. The farther we venture, the more we realize that the truth may not lie in the simple answers we expect. Perhaps the answers lie in the mysteries themselves, in the quiet reverence with which we approach these sites, and in the understanding that some questions may remain unanswered for a reason. We are reminded, too, that these ruins are not just relics of a forgotten past. They are part of an ongoing conversation with history, one that we, the present generation, are still trying to understand. The stories embedded in these stones, the unknown forces that once shaped them, speak to a deeper human desire, the desire to build something eternal, something that will outlast time itself. What these ruins represent, in essence, is the human drive for meaning, for connection, and for legacy. They are not just objects of curiosity. They are echoes of the past, calling us to remember that we, too, are part of a long history of builders and dreamers. Yet, for all the questions that swirl around these ancient structures, one thing remains undeniable. They are real. These ruins exist. We can touch them. We can stand before them. They are not figments of imagination or products of myth. They are solid, tangible, and enduring. This fact grounds our journey in reality, even as we drift through the fog of unanswered questions. The weight of these stones, the quiet stillness of these ancient places, anchors us in the present, reminding us that history is not something that exists only in textbooks. It is something that is alive, something we can walk through, touch, and experience in all its mystery. This is where our journey truly begins, in the intersection of the known and the unknown. We stand at the threshold of these incredible ruins, knowing that we will never fully understand them, but also knowing that we must try. For the search for answers is part of what makes these ruins so powerful, so alive. They stir within us a yearning to know, to understand, to uncover the secrets that have remained hidden for millennia. And in this search, we discover something about ourselves, about our own curiosity, our own drive to reach for the stars, even when the answers seem just out of our grasp. As we gently transition toward the next chapter of our journey, we leave the question open, unresolved, hanging in the air. How is it possible that these ruins exist, and why do they continue to challenge our understanding of the world? The answer, we sense, is not one we will find in a single moment, but rather one that will unfold slowly, piece by piece, as we explore the strange, beautiful, and impossible ruins that humanity left behind. And so, with quiet anticipation, we move forward, stepping into the mysteries that await, knowing that the greatest discoveries are often those that lead to even more questions. In the heart of Anatolia, buried beneath layers of time, lies a site that challenges everything we thought we knew about early human civilization. Göbekli Tepe, with its towering stone pillars and intricate carvings, sits quietly, an enigma wrapped in the dust of millennia. When it was first uncovered, archaeologists were left astonished, for Göbekli Tepe is not just old, it is impossibly ancient. So ancient, in fact, that it predates the advent of agriculture itself, a fact that seems to defy the linear narrative of human progress. This site, with its grandiosity and mystery, forces us to reconsider the very origins of civilization. Göbekli Tepe is thought to have been built around 12,000 years ago, at a time when humans were still primarily hunter-gatherers, living in small, mobile groups. The prevailing understanding of early human life suggests that it was only with the advent of agriculture, some 10,000 years ago, that societies began to settle, develop complex structures, and build monumental works. Yet here at Göbekli Tepe, we find something that does not fit into this tidy framework. Massive stone pillars, some weighing several tons, stand arranged in circular formations. Carved into these stones are intricate symbols and images of animals, including lions, snakes, and birds. These symbols speak to a level of sophistication that seems out of place for a people who were supposedly focused solely on survival, not on building temples or creating art. The question arises, how could hunter-gatherers have constructed such a site? What makes Göbekli Tepe even more perplexing is that it was intentionally buried. At some point, the people who created it chose to cover it up, perhaps in an act of ritual significance, or perhaps to protect it from the ravages of time. The fact that it was buried for thousands of years and only rediscovered in the mid-20th century speaks to a deep, almost mystical reverence for the site. Its very concealment raises more questions. Why go through the effort of burying something so monumental? Was the site abandoned, or did its builders intend for it to remain hidden from future generations? The silence of the buried stones adds to the intrigue, giving the site a sense of intentionality, something forgotten or preserved for a reason. As we explore the pillars of Göbekli Tepe, we are drawn into a world of contradictions. On one hand, the site speaks of a highly organized society, one capable of coordinating the labor needed to quarry, carve, and transport these massive stones. On the other hand, the site does not conform to the expected patterns of ancient civilizations. There is no evidence of permanent settlement nearby, no signs of the kind of agricultural revolution that typically precedes such monumental building projects. In fact, it seems that the builders of Göbekli Tepe did not need agriculture at all. Instead, they may have relied on the abundance of wild resources that surrounded them, creating a structure that was not built for practical purposes, but for something far more abstract, something spiritual, perhaps, or ceremonial. Göbekli Tepe, with its vast scale and mysterious purpose, challenges the very definition of what constitutes a civilization. It suggests that the people who built it were not driven by the need for survival, nor were they motivated solely by practical considerations. There is a sense that the builders of Göbekli Tepe were reaching for something beyond the tangible world, a connection to the divine, or perhaps a deeper understanding of the universe. The intricacy of the carvings on the stones, depicting animals and symbols of the natural world, suggests a profound connection to the earth, to the cycles of life and death, and to the cosmos. In a way, the site feels like a bridge between the material world and the spiritual, a place where the human imagination reached out to touch the divine. And yet, for all its beauty and grandeur, Göbekli Tepe remains shrouded in mystery. The purpose of the site is unclear. Was it a temple? A gathering place for religious rituals? A place of astronomical observation? Was it a place of worship, or a place where people came together to mark the changing seasons, or perhaps to communicate with forces beyond their understanding? The possibilities are endless, but none of them are certain. What we know is that Göbekli Tepe was not a practical structure in the traditional sense. It was not a place for everyday living, nor was it a hub of commerce or trade. It was something else entirely. In contemplating the builders of Göbekli Tepe, we are forced to reckon with the question of why they chose to create such an extraordinary site. What motivated these people, who were supposedly living simple, nomadic lives, to invest so much time, energy, and skill in the creation of something so monumental? Was it the need to connect with the divine? A desire to leave a lasting mark on the world? Or was it, perhaps, a way to bond their community, to come together in a shared purpose and vision? The mystery of the builders themselves only deepens the enigma of the site. Who were they, and what drove them to create something that defied all expectations? The mystery of Göbekli Tepe becomes even more compelling when we consider the implications of its discovery. If Göbekli Tepe truly predates agriculture, what does that tell us about the development of human civilization? Could it be that our understanding of the rise of complex societies is based on a flawed assumption? That civilization did not begin with the advent of agriculture, but with something far more elusive, perhaps driven by a different kind of social or spiritual need. Göbekli Tepe forces us to question the linear progression of human history, suggesting that there may have been other, lost civilizations or forgotten knowledge that preceded what we now consider the dawn of civilization. Could it be that humanity once had access to knowledge that we have lost? Could it be that the origins of civilization were far more complex and far more mysterious than we ever imagined? As we move away from the stones of Göbekli Tepe and shift our gaze to the surrounding landscape, we find ourselves wondering how many other sites like this are hidden beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered. How many more ancient ruins, buried, forgotten, or simply unexplored, remain, holding their secrets close, offering only hints of what once was. The silence of Göbekli Tepe, as much as its grandeur, speaks to the mysteries that remain just beyond our reach. We may never fully understand its purpose, nor the people who created it, but the beauty of a site lies not in the answers we can provide, but in the questions it continues to raise. In this sense, Göbekli Tepe is not just a physical place. It is a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that there's much we have yet to discover, and that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to be marveled at. And as we leave this ancient site behind, we are left with a quiet sense of awe, knowing that we have glimpsed something that has defied the passage of time, and that will continue to do so, no matter how many answers we uncover. The mystery of Göbekli Tepe is not something that can be easily resolved. It is a story that will unfold slowly, like the layers of earth that once covered it, revealing more secrets with each passing year. High in the Andes, nestled within the rugged landscape of Bolivia, lies a site that seems to defy all conventional understanding of ancient architecture. Puma Punku, part of the larger Tiwanaku complex, is a place where the very stones seem to speak of a forgotten civilization, a society that left behind a legacy that is as elusive as it is awe-inspiring. The site is composed of massive stone blocks, some of which weigh hundreds of tons, yet the precision with which they were cut and arranged seems almost impossible. These stones, so finely carved, fit together with such exactness that even a razor blade cannot fit between them. And yet, there is no definitive explanation for how these stones were moved, how they were carved, or how they were assembled. The sheer size of the blocks at Puma Punku is staggering. Some weigh more than 130 tons, and the effort required to transport them to this high-altitude site would have been enormous, even with modern machinery. And yet, there are no visible signs of ramps, pulleys, or the types of tools one might expect from such a monumental task. No matter how advanced the civilization that built Puma Punku might have been, the question remains, how did they achieve such feats with the tools they supposedly had? No matter how many theories we examine, from the use of levers and ropes to the suggestion of unknown technologies, no one has yet come up with a satisfactory answer to the question of how these stones were moved and shaped with such precision. The mystery of Puma Punku lies not just in its size or its complexity, but in the utter lack of explanation for how it was built. The stones of Puma Punku are cut with such meticulousness that many have speculated that the builders must have had access to advanced tools or methods that we have long since forgotten. The sharp, clean edges and the smooth surfaces of the stones suggest a level of precision that seems to exceed the capabilities of any tools known to have been available at the time. Some have even suggested that the stone blocks might have been carved using some sort of lost technology, perhaps even a form of high-frequency sound or vibration that allowed the builders to manipulate the stone in ways we cannot comprehend. While such theories may seem outlandish, they serve to highlight the inexplicable nature of Puma Punku and the question of what tools, knowledge, or methods could have been used to create such an extraordinary site. But it is not just the stones themselves that leave us baffled. It is also the way they are arranged. The blocks at Puma Punku fit together with such precision that they seem almost as though they were designed to interlock like a puzzle, with each stone supporting the next. In some cases, the stones are so tightly joined that no mortar was necessary to hold them in place. This interlocking design suggests a level of planning and understanding of structural integrity that seems far ahead of its time. And yet, there are no written records, no clear explanations, no historical accounts that tell us how such an advanced architectural feat was achieved. The absence of any clear answers only deepens the mystery, creating a sense of wonder and frustration that draws us back to Puma Punku again and again, as if the stones themselves are holding on to secrets they are not yet ready to reveal. As we examine Puma Punku more closely, we are also confronted with the question of its purpose. What was this site used for? Was it a religious center, a ceremonial space, or perhaps an astronomical observatory? Some scholars have suggested that the intricate carvings and precise alignments of the stones may have had astronomical significance, pointing to the stars or aligning with certain celestial events. Others believe that the site may have been a political or cultural center, a place where important decisions were made or where rituals were performed. Still, the mystery remains. What was Puma Punku, and why was it constructed with such an extraordinary level of sophistication? The unanswered questions surrounding Puma Punku are compounded by the fact that the site is believed to have been abandoned long before the rise of the Inca Empire. The Tiwanaku civilization, which built Puma Punku, collapsed around 1,000 years ago, leaving behind only these enigmatic ruins. As with many ancient sites, the reasons for the civilization's decline remain unclear. Did a natural disaster destroy the site? Was it a shift in the political or social structure that led to its abandonment? Or was it something more mysterious, a shift in the very fabric of the civilization's beliefs or knowledge that rendered the site obsolete? The absence of clear answers invites speculation, and the mystery of Puma Punku deepens with each passing year. While scholars have offered many theories about the construction and purpose of Puma Punku, none of them can fully explain the site's origins. Some have pointed to the possibility that Puma Punku was built by an ancient race of people who possessed knowledge and skills that we have lost over time. Could it be that the builders of Puma Punku were tapping into ancient wisdom, a forgotten knowledge of architecture, mathematics, or even energy that has been lost to the ages? The question remains tantalizingly unanswered, and as we ponder it, we cannot help but feel a sense of awe for the people who built this remarkable site, even though we may never fully understand who they were or how they accomplished what they did. As we stand before the ruins of Puma Punku, we are reminded of the fragility of human history. So much has been lost over time, buried beneath the earth, erased by the forces of nature or the passage of time itself. And yet, some things endure. The stones of Puma Punku, weathered by centuries of wind, rain, and sun, still stand, holding within them a mystery that refuses to be forgotten. In their stillness, they speak to us across the ages, reminding us that history is not a simple narrative of progress, but a tapestry of questions and answers, discoveries and losses that stretches far beyond our understanding. The more we try to unravel the mystery of Puma Punku, the more we are reminded that some questions may never have answers. And perhaps that is the beauty of the site. It is not just a place of stone and mortar, but a place that forces us to confront the unknown, to challenge our assumptions, and to embrace the mystery. The precision of the stonework, the seeming impossibility of its construction, and the absence of answers all combine to create a sense of wonder that lingers long after we have left the site. Puma Punku is a place that asks us to look beyond the surface, to question what we think we know, and to open ourselves to the possibility that the past holds far more mysteries than we have yet to uncover. In the end, the mystery of Puma Punku may never be solved. But perhaps that is its true purpose, not to provide answers, but to remind us that the world is full of mysteries that are meant to be marveled at, questions that are meant to be pondered, and a past that is far more complex and enigmatic than we could ever fully comprehend. The stones of Puma Punku stand as a testament to the ingenuity, the creativity, and the mystery of the people who built them, and as a reminder that some mysteries are eternal. On a remote island in the Pacific Ocean, far from the bustling centers of ancient civilization, lies a city built upon water. Nan Madol, often referred to as the Venice of the Pacific, is a site that defies conventional understanding, not just for its location but for the sheer audacity of its construction. Nestled along the coast of the island of Pohnpei in the Federated States of Micronesia, Nanmadol consists of a series of artificial islands connected by a network of canals. The city's most striking feature is its vast and mysterious stone structures, massive basalt walls and platforms arranged with meticulous precision. These stones, some of which weigh several tons, were transported across the island and stacked to create an urban complex that seems more suited to a dream than to reality. When we stand before the ruins of Nanmadol, we are immediately confronted with the question, how was this place built? The enormity of the task, moving massive stones, arranging them with such precision, and building a city that floats on the water, seems to defy all logic. The sheer scale of the site suggests a level of engineering expertise and organization that is far beyond what we typically associate with ancient Pacific Island cultures. How did the people of Pohnpei, with no known history of advanced transportation or construction methods, manage to build such an ambitious city? And what was its purpose? These questions, like the stones of Nanmadol, stand unyielding, waiting for answers that may never come. The mystery of Nanmadol deepens when we consider the site's placement on the island. It is not merely located by the water, it is built into the water. The city was constructed on a series of small, artificial islands, each surrounded by a network of tidal canals that allowed for easy movement by boat. These canals, which still fill with the ebb and flow of the ocean, give the city an otherworldly feel, as though it were a place out of time, suspended between land and sea. The canals also suggest that the builders of Nanmadol had an intimate understanding of tidal patterns and marine navigation. This raises yet another question. How did they possess such knowledge of the natural world? What forces drove them to create such a complex and intricate urban design? As we ponder the logistics of Nanmadol, we are also drawn into the realm of legend and myth. The city is said to have been built by a powerful ruler named Isoklikal, who, according to local oral traditions, commanded the labor of countless workers to move the massive stones and create the floating city. Isoklikal, some believe, was a supernatural figure, a godlike ruler with the power to command the elements. The myths surrounding Nanmadol are rich and mysterious, telling of ancient struggles for power, divine intervention, and a city that was constructed not just for practical purposes, but as a site of profound spiritual significance. The idea that Nanmadol was built by divine or supernatural means is not entirely dismissed by the physical evidence of the site. Some of the stones used in the construction of the city are so perfectly cut and so tightly fitted together that they seem to have been shaped by forces beyond human understanding. The precision with which the stones are arranged, and the fact that no mortar was used to hold them together, suggests a level of craftsmanship that is far beyond what we would expect from ancient island cultures. Some have even speculated that the stones were not moved by human labor at all, but by supernatural forces or even advanced technology. Though these ideas may seem fantastical, they speak to the profound mystery that surrounds Nanmadol, a mystery that has resisted all attempts at explanation. The city itself is divided into several distinct sections, each with its own unique purpose. Some areas are believed to have been used for ceremonial or religious purposes, while others may have served as residences for the elite. The central platform, which is the largest and most impressive of the structures, is thought to have been the residence of the ruling family, with its imposing walls and gateways. These walls, made of massive basalt columns, are so perfectly aligned that they appear almost as if they were carved from a single piece of stone. The precision with which the stones fit together, with no gaps between them, suggests a highly advanced understanding of construction techniques. Yet, for all its grandeur, Nanmadol was not built to last. Over time, the city was abandoned, and the ruins slowly sank into the water, becoming enveloped by the encroaching tide. The fall of Nanmadol remains a mystery in itself. What caused the city to be abandoned? Was it the rise of a new political power, a natural disaster, or was it simply a case of the city losing its relevance as the world around it changed? What makes Nanmadol so compelling is the fact that its story has never been fully told. Unlike the ruins of other ancient civilizations, There are no written records to shed light on the site's origins or its purpose. The myths and legends that surround Nan Madol offer tantalizing glimpses into its past, but they do not provide definitive answers. We are left with the physical evidence, the walls, the stones, the canals, each piece of which raises more questions than it answers. How were the stones moved? What tools or technologies did the builders possess? And perhaps most intriguing of all, why was this city built in such a remote, difficult-to-reach location, surrounded by water and inaccessible by land? The mystery of Nan Madol becomes even more pronounced when we consider the fact that similar sites exist elsewhere in the Pacific, suggesting that the people of Pohnpei were not isolated in their construction techniques or knowledge. Across the Pacific, we find other examples of ancient cities built on water, other examples of complex stonework that defy explanation. Could these sites have been built by the same or related cultures? Was there a lost civilization that spanned the Pacific, one that possessed knowledge and skills that we have since forgotten? As we look at Nan Madol, we are faced with the possibility that the story of human civilization is far more complex and interconnected than we have ever imagined. The absence of concrete answers only adds to the allure of Nan Madol. The site exists as a silent testament to a people, a place, and a culture that left behind no written records, no clear explanations, only these hauntingly beautiful ruins. As we stand before the stones, feeling the weight of history pressing in around us, we cannot help but feel the pull of the mystery. The beauty of Nan Madol is not in the answers it offers, but in the questions it raises. It is a place that invites us to imagine, to wonder, and to dream of a time when the forces of nature and the supernatural combined to create something truly extraordinary. Perhaps the greatest mystery of Nan Madol lies in its very existence. Why did the people of Pohnpei choose to build such a city in such a remote and difficult location? What was their vision, their purpose, and why did they abandon it? These questions may never be answered, but it is this very uncertainty that gives Nan Madol its power, drawing us into its enigmatic embrace and leaving us with a sense of wonder that lingers long after we leave the site. The city, like so many ancient ruins, exists as a living mystery, a place where the past and the present meet, and where the unknown beckons us to explore further. The Great Pyramids of Giza, standing like silent sentinels against the backdrop of the Egyptian desert, have captivated the imagination of people for millennia. These towering structures, built over 4,500 years ago, continue to baffle and awe, their sheer scale and precision defying the understanding of both ancient and modern mind alike. The pyramids were once part of a grand complex designed for the burial of the pharaohs, symbols of power, wealth, and divinity. Yet, for all the knowledge we have gathered about them over the centuries, we are still left with one undeniable truth. We do not fully understand how they were built. Theories abound, each offering a different explanation for how the ancient Egyptians might have constructed such monumental structures. Some suggest the use of ramps, while others propose the employment of cranes or even the assistance of alien technologies. Despite the countless attempts to decipher the methods used to transport and position the enormous blocks of stone, the question remains, how did a civilization, with no access to modern machinery, manage to build such an awe-inspiring monument? The mystery deepens when we consider that the construction of the pyramids occurred at a time when the Egyptians were not yet the advanced society we think of today. They had no written records to guide them and no blueprint to follow. And yet, they built something that continues to leave us in wonder, a testament to their ingenuity and vision. At the heart of this mystery lies the scale of the pyramids themselves. The Great Pyramid, built for the pharaoh Khufu, is composed of over 2 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons. To place these stones, one atop the other, with such precision, aligning them perfectly to the cardinal points of the compass, seems an impossible feat, even for modern engineers. And yet, the ancient Egyptians achieved this with remarkable accuracy. The sides of the Great Pyramid are oriented with almost perfect precision to the north, south, east, and west, a feat that would have been incredibly difficult even with the advanced tools available to us today. How do they manage this? How did they construct a structure that has remained standing for millennia with such precision and alignment, without the technology we take for granted? One of the most perplexing aspects of the Great Pyramid is its construction materials. The blocks used to build the pyramid were cut from quarries located miles away from the site. The transportation of these massive stones, which could weigh up to 80 tons, remains one of the most significant mysteries of the pyramid's construction. How were these heavy blocks moved from the quarries to the construction site? The answer is still not clear. Some suggest that the Egyptians may have used sledges and rollers, while others propose that they used ramps or some form of leverage. However, none of these theories fully explain how such large blocks were moved with the precision required to align them so perfectly. It is also worth noting that the construction of the pyramids seems to have been an incredibly well-organized process, one that would have required a vast labor force. Archaeologists believe that tens of thousands of workers were involved in the construction, and yet there are no clear records of how this massive workforce was managed. How did they coordinate such an enormous undertaking? How did they ensure that the workers were able to carry out their tasks with such precision and skill? The organization required to build the pyramids is, in itself, a testament to the advanced social and administrative systems of ancient Egypt. But the real mystery lies in how such a society, without the tools of modern engineering, was able to achieve something so monumental. As we contemplate the construction of the pyramids, we are also drawn to their purpose. The pyramids were not simply buildings. They were tombs designed to house the remains of Egypt's pharaohs and their treasures. The belief in an afterlife was central to ancient Egyptian religion, and the pyramids were seen as a means to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage into the next world. The Egyptians believed that the pyramid was a kind of conduit connecting the pharaoh to the gods. The alignment of the pyramids with the stars, the careful positioning of the burial chambers, and the intricate passageways all suggest that the pyramids were not just tombs, but also complex astronomical observatories designed to align with the celestial bodies that played such a central role in Egyptian cosmology. The idea that the pyramids were designed with such spiritual and astronomical significance raises even more questions. Why were the pyramids so intricately aligned with the stars? What did the ancient Egyptians believe about the relationship between the earth and the heavens? And how did they achieve such a sophisticated understanding of astronomy without the tools of modern science? The alignment of the pyramids with the stars, particularly the star Sirius, which was associated with the goddess Isis, suggests that the Egyptians possessed a deep understanding of the cosmos. Could it be that their knowledge of the stars, the planets, and the movements of the heavens was far more advanced than we give them credit for? Another intriguing aspect of the pyramids is the construction of the so-called air shafts that extend from the king's chamber and the queen's chamber. These shafts are aligned with specific stars in the night sky, and their purpose remains unclear. Some believe they were intended to allow the soul of the pharaoh to ascend to the heavens, while others suggest they may have had an astronomical function, allowing the Egyptians to observe certain celestial events. The presence of these shafts and their alignment with the stars suggests that the construction of the pyramid was not merely a practical endeavor, but a deeply spiritual one. The pyramids were designed not only to honor the pharaohs in death, but to connect them to the divine, to the stars, and to the eternal cosmos. As we stand before the pyramids, contemplating their mysteries, we cannot help but feel a sense of awe and wonder. The pyramids are more than just ancient structures. They are monuments to human ingenuity, to the quest for immortality, and to the mysteries of the universe. They remind us that there are still things in this world that we cannot explain, no matter how advanced our technology may become. They invite us to look beyond the surface, to seek answers that may never come, and to embrace the mystery of the ancient world. In the end, the Great Pyramids of Giza are more than just a marvel of engineering. They are a testament to the human spirit, to the desire to reach for something greater than ourselves, to build something that will endure for eternity. The mystery of how they were built may never be solved, but perhaps it is the mystery itself that gives them their power. For in the silence of the desert, beneath the watchful gaze of the pyramids, we are reminded that some questions are not meant to be answered. They are meant to be marveled at, pondered, and revered. Nestled high in the Peruvian Andes, hidden from the world for centuries, Machu Picchu remains one of the most iconic and enigmatic sites in the world. Overlooking the Urubamba River from a dramatic perch, it is a place where history and mystery intertwine, offering both a glimpse into a lost civilization and a complex puzzle that has never been fully solved. The grandeur of Machu Picchu, with its terraces, temples, and towering stone walls, seems almost otherworldly, as if it was created by a civilization that possessed knowledge beyond its time. And yet, despite its fame, much about this site remains shrouded in uncertainty, from its purpose to the methods used to construct it. What we do know is that Machu Picchu is an extraordinary achievement, one that continues to captivate scholars, explorers, and visitors alike, urging them to seek answers that may never come. Machu Picchu is thought to have been built in the 15th century during the height of the Inca Empire, a civilization known for its impressive architectural feats, advanced agricultural techniques, and mastery of engineering. The site was rediscovered by the American explorer Hiram Bingham in 1911, although it had been known to locals for centuries. Since its rediscovery, it has been the subject of countless studies and speculations, yet its purpose remains elusive. Was Machu Picchu a royal retreat for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti, who is often credited with its construction? Was it a religious site dedicated to the worship of the sun god Ini? Or perhaps it was an astronomical observatory, designed to track the movements of celestial bodies with precision? Each theory seems plausible in its own right, but none can definitively answer the question: why was Machu Picchu built, and what was its true purpose? The physical layout of Machu Picchu gives us some clues, but it also deepens the mystery. The site is divided into two main areas: the agricultural sector, with its stepped terraces, and the urban sector, which includes temples, plazas, and residential areas. The terraces, which were constructed to stabilize the mountain and provide space for farming, suggest that Machu Picchu was not just a place of spiritual or royal significance, but also a thriving center of daily life. Yet, there are no written records to confirm who lived here, how they governed, or what daily life was like. The precision of the construction, the perfectly cut stones, the interlocking walls, the complex drainage systems, speaks to a level of sophistication that seems to surpass what was thought possible for its time. But how did the Incas manage such an extraordinary feat, especially considering that they had no written language and no system of wheels or beasts of burden? One of the most striking features of Machu Picchu is the way it blends so seamlessly with its natural surroundings. The site is perched on a high ridge, surrounded by towering peaks and lush, dense jungle. The Incas, it seems, had an extraordinary understanding of the landscape, for they did not simply build upon it. They worked with it. The stones that make up the buildings are carefully fitted together, creating a harmony between nature and architecture that is difficult to achieve, even with modern technology. The structures themselves were designed to withstand the frequent earthquakes that occur in the region. Some stones, cut with such precision that no mortar is needed to hold them in place, are so perfectly interlocked that even centuries of tremors have not caused them to shift. The fact that the city has stood the test of time, without collapsing under the weight of history, further suggests that the builders possessed advanced knowledge of construction techniques and a profound respect for the forces of nature. Despite this remarkable ingenuity, there is a strange absence of evidence that can confirm the reasons behind such a complex and well-planned site. No records have survived to explain why Machu Picchu was built, who lived there, or how it was used. Unlike many other ancient sites, there are no inscriptions or murals to provide context. What we know about Machu Picchu has been pieced together from the few historical documents that mention it, from the study of its layout, and from local oral traditions. Yet, these sources offer only fragments of information. The Inca did not leave behind written texts, and so the true purpose of Machu Picchu may be lost forever in the mists of time. The mystery is compounded by the fact that Machu Picchu was abandoned in the 16th century, shortly after the arrival of Spanish conquistadors in Peru. This raises another question. Why was such an important and impressive site abandoned? Was it due to the pressures of the Spanish invasion? Did the Inca emperor decide that the site had fulfilled its purpose and no longer had any significance? Or was there another, more mysterious reason for its sudden abandonment? Some have suggested that the site was deliberately hidden, perhaps to protect it from invaders, while others believe that the high-altitude location made it difficult to maintain, especially in the face of changing political and environmental conditions. Adding to the intrigue of Machu Picchu is its alignment with celestial events. The site's buildings and terraces are carefully aligned with the solstices and equinoxes, suggesting that the Incas may have used Machu Picchu as an astronomical observatory or ritual site. The Intihuatana stone, often referred to as the hitching post of the sun, is thought to have been used to track the movement of the sun, marking the passage of time with remarkable precision. The placement of the temples and altars suggests a deep connection between the physical and spiritual worlds, as the Incas believed that the heavens and the earth were closely intertwined. The sight of the sun rising over the mountains at certain times of the year must have been a powerful and spiritual experience for the Inca people, further reinforcing the idea that Machu Picchu was not just a royal retreat, but a place of profound religious and astronomical significance. As we stand at the edge of the terraces, looking out over the mist-covered peaks and the lush green valley below, we are left to ponder the unanswered questions of Machu Picchu. What knowledge did the Incas possess that allowed them to build such an extraordinary site? What secrets did they conceal within its walls? And why, after all the effort invested in its construction, was it abandoned and forgotten? The silence of Machu Picchu, broken only by the whispers of the wind and the rustling of the trees, invites us to reflect on the mysteries of the past that continue to elude our grasp. Machu Picchu stands as a reminder that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. The site invites us to explore, to dream, and to wonder about the ancient world. Its beauty, its grandeur, and its enigmatic purpose continue to captivate our imaginations, urging us to look beyond the surface and seek out the hidden knowledge that may still lie dormant within its walls. As we leave the site behind, the question lingers in our minds. What other mysteries of the ancient world are waiting to be uncovered? And how much of our understanding of the past remains yet to be discovered? In the end, Machu Picchu is more than just a monument. It is a testament to the ingenuity and vision of a people who left behind a legacy that continues to speak to us, even as the answers to its mysteries remain just beyond our reach. And in that sense, perhaps it is the mystery itself that makes Machu Picchu so powerful, for it reminds us that the past is never fully understood, and the answers we seek are often as elusive as the mist that swirls around the ancient stones. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui as it is known to its indigenous people, is one of the most remote places on Earth, situated over 2,000 miles from the nearest populated landmass. This isolated island, famous for its giant stone statues known as moai, holds a deep mystery that continues to intrigue historians, archaeologists, and explorers. These statues, carved from volcanic tuff and weighing as much as 75 tons, stand solemnly along the island's coastline, facing inland towards the villages they once protected. The moai are an enduring symbol of Easter Island's enigmatic past, yet they raise more questions than answers. How were these colossal figures created? Why were they constructed in such large numbers? And what happened to the civilization that built them? The moai statues are perhaps the most iconic feature of Easter Island, but they are also the key to unlocking the mysteries of the island's ancient civilization. Over 800 of these statues have been found across the island, each one representing a revered ancestor, often said to embody the spirits of the island's chiefs. The construction of these statues is an impressive feat. The moai were carved from volcanic rock found at the island's Reno Ruraka quarry, using simple tools made from basalt and coral. Once carved, the statues were transported to various locations across the island, some of them standing over 30 feet tall. The sheer size of these statues, some weighing as much as 75 tons, raises the question: how did the people of Easter Island manage to carve, transport, and erect these monumental figures with the tools available to them? The traditional theory suggests that the statues were moved upright, with a sophisticated system of ropes and human effort. Yet, this explanation doesn't fully account for the complexities involved in transporting such heavy stones across rugged terrain. Other theories propose that the moai were moved horizontally, walking across the island, with a complex system of coordinated movement using ropes and a carefully timed sway. The idea that the statues were somehow able to walk remains speculative, but the fact that the statues were transported with such precision and consistency across the island suggests that the ancient people of Easter Island possessed a highly organized system, perhaps more advanced than we can imagine. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the moai statues were not just created for artistic or decorative purposes. They were deeply connected to the island's religious and political systems. The moai are thought to represent the spirits of the island's ancestors, particularly the powerful chiefs who had the ability to influence the forces of nature. According to the Rapa Nui belief system, the moai were imbued with spiritual energy known as mana, a form of divine power that could be used to protect and guide the people. The statues were erected near the villages to serve as protectors, watching over the people and ensuring their prosperity. The larger the statue, the greater the mana it held, and the more power it could exert on behalf of the village. But if the moai were so crucial to the prosperity and spiritual life of the island, why were they abandoned? This question has baffled scholars for years, as the island civilization appears to have undergone a dramatic collapse, leaving behind the statues as a silent testament to a vanished way of life. As the moai were built, the Rapa Nui people relied heavily on their agricultural practices, using the fertile volcanic soil to cultivate crops such as sweet potatoes, taro, and bananas. They also fished and raised livestock, creating a thriving society. However, by the time European explorers first arrived on the island in the 18th century, the once flourishing society was in decline. The arrival of European settlers brought diseases, warfare, and the introduction of new economic systems that drastically altered the island's way of life. It was also around this time that the moai statues were toppled, seemingly in a great act of defiance or a reflection of a deeper societal collapse. What caused the downfall of the Rapa Nui civilization remains one of Easter Island's greatest mysteries. Theories abound, from the depletion of the island's resources to social upheaval or even environmental collapse. The most widely accepted theory is that the Rapa Nui people overexploited the island's resources, particularly its forests. The moai statues themselves provide evidence of this, as the trees that were once used to transport and erect the statues were gradually depleted, leading to deforestation. Without the trees, the island's fragile ecosystem began to deteriorate, and the society that had once thrived began to unravel. The collapse of Easter Island civilization serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human societies, especially those that rely too heavily on their environment. Yet, even as the Rapa Nui people faced the collapse of their society, the moai statues stood resilient, weathering the storms of time. The sheer size and scale of these statues, along with their intricate carvings, suggest that they were not only symbols of ancestral worship, but also markers of cultural identity. They embody the memory of a people, the legacy of a civilization that has long since disappeared, and the enduring mystery of what came before. As the statues stand in silent testimony to a lost world, they continue to raise questions about the complexity of ancient societies and the forces that shape human history. The spiritual significance of the moai is undeniable, but the physicality of the statues, their construction, transportation, and arrangement, demonstrates a level of ingenuity that is still not fully understood. The island's relatively small population would have had to work together, coordinating their efforts over many generations to build the moai and erect them in such specific locations. This suggests a deeply organized and communal society, one that had a profound connection to its ancestors and its land. The monumental effort required to build and transport the statues reflects a culture that placed great importance on the past, on the spirits of their forebears, and on the role of the gods in shaping their lives. As we explore the island, walking among the silent statues, we are reminded of the fragility of human civilization. Easter Island's story is not just a tale of an isolated society. It is a cautionary tale of what happens when resources are exhausted, when social systems break down, and when the forces of nature turn against us. The Rapa Nui civilization, with its magnificent moai statues, left behind a legacy that is both awe-inspiring and tragic. The islanders had the foresight to create something monumental, something that would last, but they were also blind to the environmental consequences of their actions. Easter Island's moai statues, though silent, continue to speak to us from the past. Their quiet presence challenges us to consider the lessons of history, the dangers of unchecked consumption, and the importance of living in harmony with the natural world. The mystery of Easter Island, much like the statues themselves, remains unresolved, inviting us to reflect on the complexities of human society, the passage of time, and the enduring power of memory. As we gaze upon these stone figures, we are reminded of the impermanence of all things and the fleeting nature of civilizations, even those that seem destined to last forever. In the end, the moai of Easter Island are not just stone statues. They're symbols of a lost world, a reminder of what was and what could have been. Their mystery lingers in the air, whispering the untold stories of the Rapa Nui people, of their rise and fall, and of the legacy they left behind. And in that lingering silence, we are left to wonder, what secrets do these statues still hold? What else is there to uncover about the people who created them, and about the world they inhabited? The answers may never come, but the mystery remains as timeless and as enduring as the moai themselves. Stonehenge, with its towering stones arranged in a perfect circle, stands as one of the most famous and mysterious landmarks in the world. Located on the vast, windswept plains of southern England, it is a site that has captured the imagination of people for centuries. The origins of this megalithic monument are steeped in mystery, and even after centuries of research, no one can say with certainty why or how it was constructed. What we do know is that Stonehenge is a place of profound significance, a place that continues to spark wonder and speculation about ancient rituals, astronomical knowledge, and the enigmatic civilization that built it. The construction of Stonehenge is believed to have occurred over several phases, beginning around 5,000 years ago, during the late Neolithic period, and continuing into the early Bronze Age. The site consists of large stones, some weighing up to 25 tons, arranged in a circle. The largest stones, known as sarsens, form the outer ring, while smaller blue stones, believed to have been transported from the distant Preseli Hills in Wales, create an inner horseshoe. The precise manner in which these stones were transported and erected remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of archaeology. How did the builders of Stonehenge, with no modern machinery, move and position these massive stones? And what methods did they use to create such a complex and enduring structure, which has withstood the ravages of time and weather for millennia? Some archaeologists believe that the stones were transported using simple tools such as ropes, sledges, and wooden rollers, while others suggest that the builders may have used an elaborate system of levers or even boats to move the stones over long distances. What makes this mystery even more perplexing is the fact that the blue stones were transported from a site over 150 miles away, a feat that seems inconceivable without the use of advanced tools and knowledge. Yet, despite the many theories, no one has yet been able to definitively explain how these massive stones were moved across the landscape, particularly considering the lack of written records from the time. Equally intriguing is the purpose of Stonehenge. For centuries, scholars have speculated about its function. Some believe it was a religious site, used for ceremonial or ritualistic purposes. The alignment of the stones with the solstices, particularly the winter solstice, suggests that the monument may have been used as an astronomical observatory, allowing ancient people to track the movements of the sun and stars with remarkable precision. The idea that Stonehenge served as a kind of calendar for ancient peoples, marking the changing of the seasons, is supported by the way the sun rises and sets in alignment with the stones on key dates of the year. Others argue that Stonehenge had a more spiritual or symbolic purpose. Perhaps it was a place of worship where ancient peoples gathered to honor their gods, or a site of healing, where rituals were performed to channel the energies of the earth. Some theories even suggest that the stones themselves may have been thought to possess special powers, a belief that is reflected in the way the monument was carefully constructed, as if to harness or amplify the Earth's natural energies. The mystery of Stonehenge is inextricably tied to the question of what it meant to the people who built it. What were their beliefs, their rituals, their connection to the land and the cosmos? In addition to its spiritual and astronomical significance, Stonehenge has also been linked to burial practices. Archaeological excavations in the area have uncovered evidence of human remains, suggesting that the site may have been used for burial rituals, possibly as a place where important individuals were interred after death. Some believe that Stonehenge was a place where the dead were honored, and that the monument itself was a kind of gateway to the afterlife. This idea is supported by the discovery of nearby burial mounds, or barrows, which may have been used to bury the remains of those associated with the monument. Yet, despite the many theories and the wealth of archaeological evidence, the true purpose of Stonehenge remains elusive. No single explanation has been able to fully account for its construction or its significance. Some researchers suggest that Stonehenge was a symbol of unity, a place where different groups of people came together to exchange ideas, perform rituals, and celebrate shared beliefs. Others believe it was a site of healing or a sacred sanctuary, used to connect with the divine or the supernatural. The fact that no definitive answer has emerged only adds to the allure of Stonehenge, transforming it from a mere archaeological site into a living enigma, a place that invites us to reflect on the mysteries of the past and our own place within the larger tapestry of human history. The enduring mystery of Stonehenge is compounded by the many unanswered questions about the people who built it. Who were the builders of Stonehenge, and how did they come to possess the knowledge and skills needed to construct such an extraordinary monument? The fact that no written records have been found to explain their motivations or techniques leaves us to rely on conjecture and speculation. Some researchers believe that the people who built Stonehenge were part of a broader Neolithic culture that shared knowledge and traditions across Europe. Others suggest that the monument was built by a specific group of people with unique religious or spiritual beliefs, possibly a priestly class with access to ancient wisdom. The absence of written language from the time only deepens the mystery, leaving us to wonder what stories and knowledge have been lost to the sands of time. As we stand before Stonehenge, gazing at the massive stones and contemplating their purpose, we are reminded that the past is not a simple narrative of progress and certainty, but a complex web of questions and answers, mysteries and revelations. Stonehenge, with its imposing stones and enigmatic purpose, challenges us to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper meanings of our existence, our connection to the earth, and our place in the cosmos. What strikes us most about Stonehenge is the way it seems to transcend time. Despite the centuries of change, the monument stands as a silent witness to the ebb and flow of history. It is a reminder that the mysteries of the past are not simply relics to be studied and analyzed, but living questions that continue to provoke thought and reflection. And perhaps that is the true beauty of Stonehenge, not the answers it provides, but the questions it raises. The monument calls us to imagine the ancient world, to consider the beliefs and rituals of those who came before us, and to reflect on the timeless human desire to understand our place in the universe. In the end, Stonehenge may never reveal all of its secrets, the exact methods used to build it, its true purpose, and the beliefs of the people who constructed it may forever remain shrouded in mystery. But perhaps that is as it should be, for the enduring mystery of Stonehenge is what gives it its power, its allure, and its place in the pantheon of the world's greatest enigmas. The monument stands not just as a physical structure, but as a reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be pondered, reflected upon, and admired. Teotihuacan, the ancient Mesoamerican city located in the highlands of central Mexico, remains one of the most awe-inspiring and mysterious archaeological sites in the world. Known for its monumental architecture, including the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, Teotihuacan was once one of the largest and most influential cities in the pre-Columbian Americas. Despite its grandeur, much about Teotihuacan's origins, its people, and its eventual decline remains shrouded in mystery. Who built this city and why? What was its purpose, and what happened to the people who created it? These questions continue to fascinate historians, archaeologists, and visitors alike, making Teotihuacan a symbol of both human achievement and enigmatic loss. Teotihuacan was founded around 200 BCE, reaching its peak between 250 and 600 CE, and, at its height, it may have supported a population of over 100,000 people. The city was not only an urban center, but also a cultural, religious, and economic hub, with extensive trade networks stretching across Mesoamerica. It was a place of vibrant activity, with bustling marketplaces, temples, and grand ceremonial spaces. Yet, despite the complexity and sophistication of its society, Teotihuacan left no written records. There are no inscriptions that tell us the names of the rulers or the details of the city's history. This lack of written language means that much of what we know about Teotihuacan comes from the study of its architecture, its art, and the remains left behind. The scale of Teotihuacan's architecture is nothing short of staggering. The Pyramid of the Sun, the largest structure in the city, rises over 200 feet into the sky, making it one of the largest pyramids in the world. The Pyramid of the Moon, located at the northern end of the city, is equally impressive, though smaller in size. These pyramids, along with the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, Quetzalcoatl, form the core of the city's ceremonial center, a space that was likely used for religious rites, astronomical observations, and possibly even human sacrifices. The alignment of the pyramids and other structures in Teotihuacan suggests that the city was designed with a deep understanding of astronomy and the cycles of nature. The placement of the buildings along the Avenue of the Dead, the main thoroughfare that cuts through the city, aligns with significant celestial events, such as the movement of the sun and the stars. The precision and organization required to build such a city, particularly in the absence of advanced engineering tools, is remarkable. The fact that the city was constructed with such harmony and alignment suggests that its builders possessed an advanced understanding of mathematics, geometry, and urban planning. Yet, despite these impressive achievements, the identity of Teotihuacan's builders remains a mystery. No one knows who these people were, where they came from, or why they chose to create such an extraordinary city in the first place. Some scholars have suggested that Teotihuacan was the product of a unified state or dynasty, while others believe it may have been the result of a collective effort by different groups of people, united by shared religious and cultural beliefs. Adding to the mystery of Teotihuacan is the fact that, unlike many other Mesoamerican civilizations, the city was not built around a central ruler or a dynasty. There are no signs of elaborate palaces or royal tombs, and no clear evidence of a ruling class. This has led some scholars to speculate that Teotihuacan may have been a theocratic society, where power was vested in religious leaders rather than political rulers. The lack of a clear political structure only deepens the mystery of the city's rise and fall. How did such a complex, powerful city operate without a central leadership or dynasty? And why, after centuries of success, did Teotihuacan suddenly decline around the 7th century CE? One of the most intriguing aspects of Teotihuacan is its sudden and mysterious abandonment. By the end of the 7th century, the city had fallen into decline, and by the 8th century, it had been largely abandoned. The reasons for this collapse are still unclear. Some scholars point to environmental factors, such as resource depletion or climate change, which may have made it difficult to sustain the city's large population. Others suggest that the city may have experienced internal social upheaval, with widespread unrest or rebellion among the people. There is evidence of widespread destruction at the site, including the burning of important structures, which suggests that Teotihuacan's decline may have been the result of violent conflict. Another theory posits that the collapse of Teotihuacan may have been linked to the rise of other Mesoamerican cities, such as the Maya and the Zapotecs, who began to challenge Teotihuacan's dominance in the region. The city's decline may have been the result of competition and warfare, leading to its eventual fall. Whatever the cause, the abandonment of Teotihuacan remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the ancient world. How did a city that once thrived and influenced the entire Mesoamerican world fall into ruin so suddenly? What factors caused its inhabitants to leave behind the impressive structures they had worked so hard to build? The mystery of Teotihuacan is compounded by its continued influence on later Mesoamerican civilizations. The city's art, architecture, and religious practices left an indelible mark on the cultures that followed, including the Aztecs, who revered Teotihuacan as a sacred site. The Aztecs believed that the gods had created the world at Teotihuacan, and they associated the city with the origin of the cosmos. The fact that Teotihuacan's legacy persisted for centuries, even after the city had been abandoned, speaks to the profound impact it had on Mesoamerican culture. Today, Teotihuacan stands as a silent reminder of the power and mystery of ancient civilizations. The pyramids, temples, and plazas that once rang with the sounds of ritual and daily life are now quiet, their secrets hidden beneath the earth and the passage of time. The city's mystery remains unresolved, offering us a glimpse into a past that we can never fully understand. Yet, it is in this very mystery that Teotihuacan's power lies. The unanswered questions about its origins, its purpose, and its eventual fall continue to captivate our imaginations, urging us to look deeper into the enigma of one of the world's greatest lost cities. The Great Wall of China is one of the most iconic structures in the world, stretching across thousands of miles of rugged terrain, from the eastern coast of China to the desert regions of the West. This colossal wall, often described as a marvel of ancient engineering, has been the subject of fascination and intrigue for centuries. Its purpose, its construction, and its enduring legacy are shrouded in mystery, and even today, the full extent of its history is not completely understood. Why was the wall built on such an immense scale? How was it constructed, and why did it evolve over centuries into the formidable structure we know today? The Great Wall was not a single, continuous structure built at one time, but rather a series of walls, fortifications, and watchtowers constructed by different dynasties over a period of more than 2 millennia. The earliest sections of the wall were built as early as the 7th century BCE, during the Warring States period, but it was not until the Qin dynasty in the 3rd century BCE that the wall began to take on the form we recognize today. The Qin emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is often credited with unifying and extending the wall to protect China from invading forces. However, it was the later Ming dynasty, in the 14th to 17th centuries, that constructed the wall's most famous and best-preserved sections, transforming it into the imposing structure that stretches over 13,000 miles. The purpose of the wall was clear. It was designed to defend the northern borders of China from invasions by various nomadic groups, particularly the Mongols and the Xiongnu. The wall's strategic placement along the mountainous regions of northern China provided a formidable barrier to enemy armies, and its watchtowers offered a vantage point for spotting invaders from a distance. Soldiers stationed along the wall were able to send signals using smoke or fire to alert other parts of the wall of approaching threats, allowing for quick mobilization of forces. But while the wall's defensive purpose is well understood, many aspects of its construction remain a mystery. The wall was built using a variety of materials, depending on the region and the resources available. In some areas, the wall was constructed from wood, while in others, stone, brick, and earth were used. The fact that the wall spans such a vast and varied landscape, from deserts to mountains, meant that its construction required a staggering amount of labor and resources. How was such an enormous undertaking managed? How were workers organized? And how did they manage to transport materials over such vast distances? While historical records tell us about the use of forced labor, including soldiers, peasants, and criminals, the sheer scale of the project raises even more questions. One of the greatest mysteries surrounding the Great Wall is the question of how it was constructed over such a long period of time. The wall was built by many different dynasties, each with its own architectural techniques and materials. The earlier sections, built by the Qin dynasty, were less sophisticated, relying on compacted earth and wooden structures. In contrast, the Ming dynasty built much more durable sections of the wall, using bricks and stone. The transition from earth to brick and stone construction and the need to reinforce the wall during the Ming period suggest that the wall was not simply a static structure, but an evolving one, adapted to meet the changing needs of the time. Another mystery lies in the purpose of the Great Wall beyond defense. Some scholars have suggested that the wall may have also served as a symbol of China's power and unity, an expression of the empire's ability to control its territory and withstand foreign invasion. The wall was a statement of strength, designed not just to keep invaders out, but also to project the might of the emperor and the Chinese state. In this sense, the wall was both a physical barrier and a political symbol, marking the boundary between China and the barbarians to the north. As we study the Great Wall today, it's also important to consider the wall's evolution and its enduring significance. While it was originally built for military defense, over the centuries, the wall has become a symbol of China's enduring strength and resilience. The Great Wall is a reminder of the country's long history and its ability to withstand both internal and external pressures. It is a testament to the determination and ingenuity of the people who built it, as well as a symbol of the sacrifices made in its construction. For centuries, the wall has been a physical and metaphorical boundary, separating China from the outside world. But as time has passed, the Great Wall has become something more, a symbol of China's historical identity and its deep connection to its past. In the modern era, the Great Wall has taken on a new life as a cultural and tourist icon. Visitors from all over the world come to witness its majesty and to walk along its ancient stones. But even as we marvel at its grandeur, we are reminded of the many mysteries that still surround the wall. How did the different sections of the wall function as a cohesive whole? Why did the wall remain unfinished in certain places? And what role did it play in the larger geopolitical landscape of ancient China? The Great Wall's mysteries extend beyond its construction to the stories of the people who lived and worked along its length. Soldiers who guarded the wall, farmers who labored to build it, and prisoners who were forced to contribute their labor all have left behind stories that have been lost to history. In some sections of the wall, remains of ancient garrisons, watchtowers, and even cemeteries can still be found, offering glimpses into the lives of those who spent their lives protecting China's borders. But many of these stories have been obscured by time, leaving us with only fragments of information. Despite all the answers we have uncovered about the Great Wall of China, it remains an enduring symbol of mystery. The exact number of workers who built it, the full extent of its defensive capabilities, and the full significance of its purpose are still subjects of debate among historians. What we do know is that the Great Wall is a monument to human perseverance, a structure that reflects both the hopes and fears of those who created it. It stands as a reminder of the fragility of civilization and the lengths to which people will go to protect their way of life. Today, as we walk along its ancient stones, we are left with the sense that the Great Wall is not just a physical barrier, but a boundary between the known and the unknown, a line drawn between history and mystery. Perhaps that is the true power of the wall, its ability to provoke questions and ignite our imagination, inviting us to wonder about the people who built it, the forces that shaped it, and the lessons we can learn from it. In this way, the Great Wall of China remains as mysterious and as relevant today as it was when it was first constructed. The Nazca lines, etched into the arid plains of southern Peru, are one of the most perplexing and intriguing mysteries in the world. Stretching over 50 miles across the desert, these enormous geoglyphs have fascinated explorers, archaeologists, and researchers for centuries. The lines, which can only be fully appreciated from the air, depict a variety of figures, including animals, plants, and geometric shapes. Some of these designs are as long as 1,200 feet, and many of them have remained preserved for over 1,500 years despite the harsh desert environment. The question that has captivated people for generations is, why were the Nazca lines created, and how did the ancient civilization responsible for them manage to create such intricate patterns without the ability to view them from above? The Nazca culture, which flourished between 200 BCE and 600 CE, is known for its advanced knowledge of irrigation, pottery, and textiles. However, it is the lines that have defined their legacy. While the purpose of the Nazca lines remains a subject of intense debate, there are several prevailing theories that attempt to explain why these enormous figures were created in the first place. Some scholars suggest that the lines were part of a religious or ceremonial practice, created as offerings to the gods in an effort to bring rain to the dry region. The lines themselves are oriented towards specific points in the sky, such as the rising and setting of the sun and certain constellations. This has led some to speculate that the Nazca people may have used the lines for astronomical purposes, marking the passage of time or tracking celestial events like solstices and equinoxes. Another theory posits that the lines were used for water rituals. The region in which the Nazca lines are found is extremely arid, and water was a precious and scarce resource. The Nazca people were known for their elaborate irrigation systems, and it is believed that the lines might have been created as part of a larger network of water-related rituals. The lines themselves could have represented paths for water to flow, or they could have been symbolic representations of water's life-giving power. Given the Nazca people's reliance on agriculture, it makes sense that they might have associated the lines with fertility and agricultural abundance. Yet another theory suggests that the Nazca lines were created for a more symbolic or cultural purpose, such as marking territorial boundaries or creating pathways for ceremonial processions. Some of the lines form geometric shapes or straight paths that connect one area of the desert to another, possibly serving as markers for important routes used by the Nazca people. These pathways could have been used in pilgrimages to sacred sites or for rituals designed to honor their deities. The complexity of the Nazca lines is what truly makes them so fascinating. While many of the figures appear relatively simple from the ground, their true complexity becomes apparent only when viewed from above. How did the Nazca people, with no aerial perspective, manage to create such large and precise figures? Some of the designs, such as the spider, the monkey, and the hummingbird, require an extraordinary sense of scale and accuracy to depict in the vast desert landscape. The precision with which the lines were drawn is astounding, considering the lack of advanced tools and technology. The lines are made by removing the dark, sun-baked surface stones of the desert floor to reveal the lighter-colored soil beneath. This technique is not only simple, but also effective in preserving the designs for centuries. There is still no consensus on how the Nazca people were able to create these lines with such exacting precision. Some believe that they used simple tools and rudimentary surveying techniques, perhaps employing basic principles of geometry to map out the designs. Others suggest that the lines may have been created with the help of an intricate system of ropes, stakes, and other markers, which could have been used to guide the workers and ensure accuracy. However, the absence of written records leaves us with only speculation. What we do know is that the Nazca people were able to accomplish something that still baffles modern scientists, and the fact that the lines have endured for so long, without being eroded or obscured by the harsh desert conditions, is a testament to the sophistication of their methods. One of the most enduring mysteries of the Nazca lines is their purpose. While many theories have been proposed, none can fully explain why such an immense effort was made to create these geoglyphs. Were the lines purely symbolic, or did they have a practical function? Were they created to appease the gods, or were they intended for more earthly purposes, such as marking ritual paths or trade routes. The fact that many of the lines are so large and elaborate suggests that they had some sort of profound significance, but the true meaning remains elusive. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the Nazca lines were not the only ancient geoglyphs created in the Americas. Similar designs, though not as extensive, can be found in other parts of the world, from the deserts of North America to the plains of Africa. This raises the question of whether the Nazca people were aware of other civilizations that were creating similar markings, or whether these designs were the product of independent, parallel cultures. The idea that the lines were part of a larger, global tradition of creating monumental earthworks is an intriguing possibility, but one that remains speculative. Today, the Nazca lines continue to captivate the imagination of researchers and visitors alike. Theories about their purpose and construction continue to evolve as new technologies, such as satellite imagery and aerial surveys, offer new insights into the lines and their meaning. However, despite all the advances in modern technology, the true purpose of the Nazca lines remains shrouded in mystery. What we do know is that these ancient geoglyphs are more than just a collection of lines in the desert. They are a window into the culture, beliefs, and ingenuity of the Nazca people. The lines, with their intricate designs and enduring mystery, invite us to reflect on the vastness of human creativity and the deep connection between people and the land they inhabit. The Nazca lines serve as a reminder that even in our modern world, there are still ancient wonders whose true meaning remains elusive. They challenge us to think beyond the boundaries of time and space, urging us to explore the mysteries of the past and consider the ways in which people in ancient cultures sought to express their deepest beliefs and desires. And as we look upon the vast desert, where the lines stretch out in patterns that only the gods could fully comprehend, we are left to wonder, what else remains hidden beneath the sands of time, waiting to be uncovered? The pyramids of Giza stand as one of the most enduring symbols of ancient Egypt, towering over the desert landscape and casting long shadows across the sands of time. These colossal structures, particularly the Great Pyramid, are among the most magnificent architectural feats ever accomplished by humanity. Built over 4,500 years ago during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom, the pyramids have long been admired for their scale, precision, and mysterious origins. Yet despite centuries of study and exploration, many questions remain unanswered. How were these massive structures built? What was their true purpose? And what secrets lie hidden within the stones and chambers of the Great Pyramid? The Great Pyramid, the largest of the 3 pyramids at Giza, was constructed for the pharaoh Khufu, also known as Cheops, and stands as a testament to the architectural genius of ancient Egypt. Originally rising to a height of 481 feet, it remained the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. The precision with which the pyramid was constructed is remarkable. It is aligned with incredible accuracy to the cardinal points of the compass, and its sides are nearly perfectly square. The sheer scale of the project, estimations suggest that it required the labor of tens of thousands of workers and the transportation of millions of limestone blocks, raises questions about the methods used to construct such a monumental structure. Even today, modern engineers and architects are still unable to replicate the precision and complexity of the Great Pyramid's design. The construction techniques used to build the pyramids have long been a subject of debate and speculation. Ancient Egyptian texts make no mention of how the pyramids were built, leaving modern archaeologists and engineers to come up with their own theories. Some believe that the Egyptians used ramps to move the massive stones into place, with a straight, zigzagging, or spiral ramp leading up to the pyramid summit. Others propose that the stones were moved with a system of cranes or levers, although there is little evidence to support these claims. More recently, some researchers have suggested that the blocks were dragged up a series of smaller ramps that spiraled around the pyramid as it was being built, a method that would have allowed workers to gradually add height to the structure as they move the blocks into place. Despite the many theories, no one has been able to definitively explain how the ancient Egyptians managed to move such large stones, some of which weigh several tons. The Great Pyramid contains an estimated 3 million blocks of stone, each weighing between 2 and 30 tons, and the precision with which these stones were cut and placed has led some to suggest that the Egyptians had access to tools and technologies far beyond what we currently believe was available at the time. There are even theories that the stones may have been shaped with some form of advanced machinery, though no definitive evidence has been found to support such claims. What is clear, however, is that the construction of the pyramids was a monumental achievement, one that reflects the sophisticated understanding of engineering, mathematics, and astronomy possessed by the ancient Egyptians. The purpose of the pyramids has long been a subject of fascination. Traditionally, the pyramids are believed to have served as tombs for the pharaohs, designed to house the rulers' bodies and their treasures for the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaohs were divine beings, intermediaries between the gods and the people. As such, their tombs were constructed with elaborate care, designed to protect the pharaoh's body and possessions from grave robbers and ensure their safe passage into the afterlife. The pyramid shape itself, with its steep sides, may have symbolized the sun's rays, which the pharaohs could ascend to join the gods in the heavens. However, the idea that the pyramids were simply tombs has been questioned in recent years. Some scholars have suggested that the pyramids may have had more complex symbolic or ritualistic purposes. The fact that the pyramids were constructed with such astronomical precision, aligned with the stars and the solstices, suggests that they may have also served as celestial observatories or as part of a larger religious system connected to the stars and the cosmos. The alignment of the Great Pyramid with the constellation of Orion, for example, has led some researchers to propose that the pyramid was intended to symbolize the pharaoh's connection to Osiris, the god of the afterlife, whose soul was believed to reside in the stars. Beyond the purpose of the pyramids themselves, there are also questions about the role of the workers who built them. It is often assumed that the pyramids were constructed by slaves, but evidence suggests that the workforce was actually made up of skilled laborers and craftsmen who worked on the pyramids in rotation. Archaeological discoveries near the pyramids have uncovered evidence of workers' villages, where large numbers of laborers and their families lived while constructing the tombs. These workers were not slaves, but rather a highly organized and well-compensated workforce, which suggests that the construction of the pyramids was a national project of great significance, involving a level of social coordination and organization that was unprecedented at the time. Despite the many advancements in our understanding of the pyramids, there are still many unanswered questions. The interior of the Great Pyramid, for instance, contains several chambers and passageways, the most famous of which is the King's Chamber, where Khufu's sarcophagus was placed. The precise purpose of the many other chambers and shafts within the pyramid remains unclear. Some researchers believe that these chambers may have been used for astronomical purposes, or that they were symbolic representations of the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. The alignment of the pyramid's shafts with certain stars, such as Sirius and Alnitak, has led to speculation that the pyramids were designed as part of a larger system of star worship, connecting the pharaohs with the heavens in ways we are only beginning to understand. The mysteries of the pyramids of Giza continue to captivate the world. Even with modern technology and advanced research methods, there is still much we don't know about how the pyramids were built, why they were constructed in the manner that they were, and what hidden meanings may be encoded in their structure. The questions surrounding these ancient wonders invite us to reflect on the profound achievements of the ancient Egyptians, while also reminding us of how much we still have to learn about the ancient world. As we look upon the towering pyramids, we are left to wonder what other secrets lie buried beneath the sands, waiting to be uncovered.